Today we are going to talk about estimating with what we call benchmark fractions. Benchmarks are simply figures, numbers that help us compare to other numbers, and they really help in estimating. That's what we're doing today. Today we're going to be estimating fractional problems. When we estimate with decimals, it's pretty easy. We just round each decimal and then we get our estimate, our about answer. That will tell us if our real answer is reasonable or not. That's one of the main reasons why we do estimate. But when we have fractions, it's a little bit different because there's no real rounding rules with fractions. Instead, we use these things called benchmarks to help us round the fractions. Let me give you an example to see if you can get the hang of it. So I have 5 1/10. Now I'm estimating this problem. I don't want you to get an exact answer to the sum. I want you to get an estimate. So if I take a look at the first number, 5 1/10, now I want to change that number so that it's easier to work with for my estimate. To do that, I look at the whole number, okay, 5. Now I look at the fractional part, 1/10. Now in my mind, I'm going to think, is 1/10 closer, or which one of these benchmarks is it closer to? Is 1/10, I want you to think about the fraction 1/10, is it closer to the number 0, 1/2, or 1/2? The way I do this is I kind of think of a fraction bar in my head, and I think about one piece shaded out of 10. If this were my fraction bar, it was divided into 10 spots, like I'd only have a little bit filled in. So I would say it's closest to 0. Well, what that means then is I'd have 5, and then if I round this 1/10 to 0, that would just simply be 5. Now let's take a look at the second figure, 3 8/9. Whole number's 3, but let's look at our fractional part, 8/9. Is 8/9 closest to that benchmark 0, 1/2, or 1/2? Again, think about a fraction bar. I think of 9 pieces, 8 of them filled in on my fraction bar. That would probably land me somewhere right in here, really close to that 1/2. So I can think of 8/9 as being really close to 1/2. So if I have 3 plus another whole, well, you know what that is, it's 4. So I can change 3 8/9 to the number 4. And of course, 5 plus 4 is 9. And that would be my estimate before I would solve the real problem. And when I solve the real problem, you would do all the things you normally do by making multiple lists, find your common denominator, and then add. But when you get an answer, it should be close to your estimate. Your estimate will tell you whether or not your real answer is reasonable. So again, when we round with fractions, we use these things called benchmarks to help us do that.